What's going on, YouTube? Last Musketeer here, coming at you with part 2 of the Epic 7 free-to-play Is It Worth It series. Now, I'm going to go ahead and send it into day 2 and get everything going, but I need to preface this with this account is going to look a little different. Reason being, I messed up. I accidentally forgot to link my account, I believe, and even though I tried to do everything I could to recover it, I just couldn't, and it would take probably a week before they would respond to me. I did put in the notice, but really I didn't have any more time to waste. So basically, this is a new account. I started on day 2 of what I had, about where I ended on the first episode with a different account. So it should be around the same part, but I needed to just get that out of the way before we get in this, because people are going to wonder why everything looks a little different. I did start with Vildred though, so the main focus is still the same. Now, I went into the summons early on, and I gotta say this account is pretty lucky so far. I wanted to try to get Flan if at all possible, because I really need a good support that's going to drive my Vildred through the campaign and the Abyss, Spirit Altars, whatever it may be, as fast as possible. So I took my chance on it. You know, I got a 5-star artifact, the Bloodstone, and a Silver Rain, which is always nice. And then, believe it or not, on the first 10 pull, I pull her, and I gotta say that has made everything a lot easier. I didn't expect to be lucky at this point, but you know, I'm not gonna complain. It's definitely gonna help me out a lot. So mainly I ended, I think, at part 4.2 on the first day. Did some missions for my pathing as I go through, and took on some Spirit Altars. You know, adding Flan into this lineup has really made it pop. It's really gotten a lot stronger with her in it. And the gear I put on her at first is just kind of throwaway gear. I don't really have anything I can utilize on her well, and in hindsight, putting a Bloodstone on her wasn't a good idea, because it is an artifact that heals based off the damage you do, and well, she only has an attack in her A1 ability, and so she really doesn't benefit that much from the ability. But with that being said, stats are always nice, so I'm going to leave it where it's at least for the time being. Well, early game, moving through these Spirit Altars, I'm going to have a bit of a hard time finishing some of them. I may be able to do the easy, maybe the normal difficulty, but until I actually get some decent gear supplied on my heroes, I'm going to have a hard time taking out most of these bosses. As we're moving on to day 3, my main focus right now is ensuring that everyone has at least the gear to survive. The main thing is, I don't want to waste too much time with their attack animations, and the less turns they get, the better. I want to make sure they're able to survive long enough through the waves that I don't miss out on 3-starring missions, because the general requirement for getting 3 stars on a mission is that your whole team survives. Now, the significance of it is, yeah, I could go back and do it again, but I save time and energy by 3-starring it the first time. So the main goal is just everyone survive and clear it as fast as possible. Flan is the only one I really want getting a turn other than Vildred, because she's going to buff him. The rest of them are just kind of there at the moment to help ensure a little bit more damage or a little bit more survivability. Right now I'm working on a little bit more of the Spirit Altars, because not only can I complete them for mission rewards, I also need to get as many of the gems as possible. The way I look at it, whenever I'm building a team, I need to go with the ones that are going to be the most useful for that team. So anytime I can get something that is good against a boss, such as a defense down, or maybe certain ones that heal a lot, I need a heal block for that. So I have to plan ahead and kind of make substitutions here or there for something that I may have trouble with down the road. But currently, and as far as everything has gone throughout the week, I actually haven't had to make really any substitutions, which leaves me able to make sure that I progress my 2 strongest heroes as much as possible. So by day 3, I had ended at 5.6. Now that's a decent gain, and this of course is only being able to do it for an hour a day, so if you have plenty more time, like flying through these levels and getting the gear you need is going to be a lot simpler. This is kind of the restriction I put on myself, not only because I need time for this game and the 2 other series I'm doing, but also to try to balance out my work and home life. So because I had to restart the account is only technically at this point on day 3. I had to squeeze extra hours in some days to make up for the time, but I get a 6-piece set from the day 3 of attack gear that's really strong for Vildur. It's going to up his damage a lot. But from the event, I gained a 10 summon for the Ai Ning Ning featured, and while I looked at her stats and didn't necessarily think that I would use her all that much, I still tried for it anyway, and unbelievably I pull her on the first 10 attempt. So I guess this account is blessed. Maybe they're making up for the fact that I lost the first one. I'm not sure, but either way, you know, we'll take it. Happy to have it. Maybe I'll get some use out of her somewhere. So we go into a regular Covenant summon, and I've saved up enough to do a 10 pull on this one, and I'm not exactly hoping for much, and yet I pull a Saria. And looking at her kit, she's absolutely fantastic for my build. Very good as not only dealing a decent amount of damage, but enabling Vildur even more by resetting his cooldowns and giving him more opportunities. She also has a defense down on her A1, which is fantastic for bossing. So really I'm getting pretty lucky with what I'm pulling. It's probably not going to be the same for everybody. This is the first bit of arena I've been able to do on this account, because while I did reset it the first couple days, the arena was down for the end of the season, so basically I had to wait until then. The first group was all bots, very easy wins. I mean, nothing to show there. I just wanted to show off that I did finally get into arena. And as we're moving on here, we're climbing campaign this day extremely quickly. You know, the boss is starting to get a little tankier, except when Vildur crits. I do have like, I think around 70 to 80% crit rate with the gear I've got on right now, that new gear that I put on, and it's helping tremendously. As long as I can keep up and hopefully add to his crit rate and crit damage, I'm just going to continue to fly through this stuff. So as you saw there, I was just getting to 7, and in this I just beat the final boss of 7, so I am flying right through all these campaigns, and I believe that is actually where I end on this day, just unlocking 8, and I'm almost to the end of episode 1 of the story. That's very exciting stuff, and I wanted to leave this in here because I wanted people to see the events are absolutely fantastic. Make sure you're taking full advantage of those, and make sure you're taking full advantage of the rewards you get from your journal. So from here I go to the Covenant summon because I had gotten enough out of playing the campaign to do another 10 pull. And as much as I'd like to say that I got another 5-star, it just wasn't in the cards on this one. I did get a 4-star Zerato, and also I want to say, if I'm saying these names wrong or butchering them, I apologize. I don't exactly know how to say these names, so if you wanted to roast me in the comments, I completely understand it. But I wanted to leave this in here because I did make my own guild, and it's free to everyone. If you want to join, the name of it is Risen Knight. So at this part in the campaign, it's actually starting to get a little more difficult. If I can land my defense down, Vildur crits, then I am still able to do a massive amount of damage and kind of wipe them out pretty quickly. But we got all the way to 9.2 as of day 5. So now I wanted to showcase this because this was not only the end of 9.2, but it was also the first place I lost. I actually had to go back, level some of my gear up, and then play it in manual to actually beat this fight. It's at least exciting because it tells me it's not going to be a complete cakewalk from here on out. Now, I did show this part of the arena because I've only had 2 days, got to 318 points, which is like rank 4,000 something. But at the start of day 7, I decided I should do the 10 times summons that I've been saving up, so I've got 2 of them. The first one didn't yield anything. I got a 4-star artifact. That's alright. But the second one, I want to show all of it because I actually did get lucky and pulled a dark 5-star unit, Briar Witch Assyria, which is pretty cool. I think she's got a very good kit. I don't know exactly how I'm going to play into it. Potentially maybe an arena champ for me, something I could pair with Arbiter Veldred. That's something I'm going to see down the road. This here is the final fight of Chapter 10. And I gotta say, this fight was really cool. It was a bit of a struggle, but we managed to pull it out. Didn't actually lose anybody, which was funny in the first point. I assumed that I would at least lose a couple heroes during this, but I had got enough gear and had enough strength by then to actually pull this one out pretty easy. So all in all, very exciting. And of course, getting done with Chapter 10, I was wondering what's next. But as far as the map shows, it seems pretty expansive. Possibly 5 different episodes, as you can see, and which means a lot of grinding to go, which I am excited about. So it's always something to look forward to. Now, here I wanted to end off just showing kind of what I was able to achieve as far as gear and level at this point. I'm looking to get Vildred 6-star and of course Full Awake and get him as good a gear as possible. But right now, with the current gear that he has on, he's been quite a big pull for me. I could say, honestly, I'd highly recommend him as your starter champion. If you want to reroll until you get him, that's perfectly fine. If you want to go something else, that's perfectly fine. But with my experience as of yet, that seems to be the strongest one I've seen. The rest of these unworked on champs, I will have to gear up and work up as time goes on, hopefully make an arena team with them. I'd love to do something like that. So if you've kept up with me to this point, I'd like to say thank you so much for your support, and if there's anything I can do for the next videos to maybe make it smoother or explain something in a little more detail, just let me know down in the comments section. I'm gonna do my best to keep putting as much time and effort into the editing as I can, albeit with the constrictions that I have as far as timing. I'm all for criticism, and anything I can do to make it better, I will try to do. If you liked the video, consider giving me a subscribe. It would help me out tremendously. And with all that being said, as of the end of this first week, I'm still very much enjoying this game. From the art, to the story, the campaign direction, the gearing, the events, everything is just, there's so much to do. I'm constantly doing something, and it's holding my attention well. It's not just drying out after the first little bit like some games do, and I very much appreciate that. I just want to say hats off to the people that made Epic 7. You're, at least at this point, you know what you're doing, and I appreciate that. Anyway, that's going to be it for me, guys. This is The Last Musketeer, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.